Traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharp Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharp Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharp Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharp Way Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So happy that you're giving me a small chunk of your day. You can call in if you want to after the first break. 585 346 3000. You know, as I looked around New York City, particularly certain areas, you will see a lot of abandoned businesses. Common thing. Been true since before the lockdowns. You've been seeing a lot of it. So a bunch of it during the crash in 2009, 10, a lot of that. But got worse. And now it's still pretty bad, but why are people still here? What would you do if you were here in a business? Maybe you're a hotel owner, or you own a commercial office building or something like that. And you see tourism going away, and you see office work going away. But you own this big building. You own a big building. Maybe you own several buildings. Maybe you're a hotel owner or franchise owner, and you own a big hotel building. You start getting worried. You would think you'd be yelling and screaming and yelling for government to do something or yelling for something. But I didn't see that happen. I didn't see massive change in the politics of New York City. I didn't see massive changes. And I was kind of concerned. I said, why? Why aren't we all of a sudden doing this? Now, there is one thing. A lot of them are physically leaving. That's true. You are finding people pack up and just get out of here. That's true. But what if you own a building? What if you own an apartment? Are you just going to pack up and leave your property here? I mean, some people, I guess if you're super wealthy, you could, I guess, because you have like multiple buildings, maybe. But the vast majority of people who own a building don't own multiples of them. Maybe. Not that many. Well, what began to happen? I thought to myself, what began to happen? I tell you, as New York City began to struggle, there were a bunch of homeless people. We saw it. Homeless people everywhere. It was happening that there was no tomorrow. To step over homeless people. Huh. So what did the government do? They said, hey, hotel owner, you guys don't have any people staying in your hotel because New York during the lockdowns has become a place that nobody wants to visit. So can I pay you to put my homeless people there? And they went, wait a minute. You're going to give us free money to fill our hotel rooms with people who, if we're bad to them, they have no recourse whatsoever. They're probably not going to come back. So if we're bad to them, we don't care. They have no political power because they're homeless. So we can do whatever we want with them and just get free money and charge you whatever we want. Government said, yeah, that's about right. That sounds perfect. Yes. Hotel said, sign me up. I'm in. I get government money, and the people I'm housing have no recourse whatsoever. And it's just done. I just get the money. And the government was like, yeah, let's do that. And they went, good. And they started taking the money. And the hotel people were like, we don't really care if there's tourists or not. Tourists have like demands and stuff, and they can make us do things. These unhoused people, they don't have any power whatsoever. And the government's going to give us money no matter what we do. We'd rather have that. And they didn't complain. And they started taking cash. And then nonprofits said, wait a minute. See, if you do, wait a minute. Now I can't get my money because you're giving it to the hotel people. And That's not good. I need my cut. I'm a nonprofit that worships at the foot of the government. I'm not one that has donors. I just ask for government grants. So I'm basically an arm of the government that I can grift off of. And they went, what about us? The government said, well, I don't need you now. I can give my money to hotel people and they have lots of money and they will give me money. So it's an easier grift. So I don't really need you. And they said, well, we can't have that. That's not going to work. Well, the nonprofit people saw that there were other landlords who were also struggling. People who had things like commercial buildings and other large factories that weren't being used anymore, other large commercial buildings that weren't being used. And they said, hey, commercial landlord, you have no one in your building. And they went, yeah, kind of sucks. How about if I give you government money and you keep some migrants in there? Or some homeless people? How about homeless people? Oh, well, my building's basically abandoned and they live there anyway because they just break in and live there. So I can officially have them there and you'll pay me? And nonprofit said, yeah, I mean, we're going to take our cut off the government, but then we'll give you the rest. And the landlord said, wow. So right now people are breaking into my building anyway, staying there as homeless people anyway. But instead, I can have them do it legally, kind of ish, and you'll give me government money. And they went, yes. He said, deal. So then the nonprofits went back to the government and said, hey, I can put even more homeless people into buildings. So they'll be sheltered. And that's the law in New York City. I can shelter them. There'll be a roof over their head. I mean, it'll be embarrassingly horrible and bad and basically inhumane, but there'll be a roof over their heads. Just give me a bunch of money. The government said, so I can get these homeless people off the streets by giving you more government money. And they went, yeah. Okay, if something goes wrong, is it my fault? No, it's the landlord's fault. You can blame them for being like slumlords and stuff if you want. Well, we already blame them for being some slumlords. Yeah, they don't care. You can just keep calling them names. They don't care. But now you write them a check and they'll be happy. They might even support your campaign. And the government said, this is great. Yeah, here's more government money. And now nonprofits were involved. And now people who had commercial buildings, people who had old factories, started putting homeless people in there. It was great. Everybody was happy, except for New Yorkers. But the grift was there. And we then created the homeless industrial complex. That is the current system in New York. That's why people aren't so mad. The wealthy aren't asking for change. They're all getting paid. Yeah. But then money started running out. There's the problem, right? Other people's money eventually starts to run out. That's the problem. You can only grift while the grifting's good. But then the bonus happened. The migrants came. Yeah, they did. They came. Everyone in New York was like, oh my God, the world's ending. But a couple people didn't think that. They went, wait a minute. If migrants come, that means it's a federal issue. So now we get federal money. Uncle Joe will write us checks. Uncle Joe Biden will start writing us some big checks. Yes. Now we are set. We're getting money from Her Majesty Queen Kathy Hochul, first of her name. And now Uncle Joe will also send us money. This is good. So then, this is the best part. The nonprofits who had learned their lesson when the hotel people had jumped the gun and got the cash, they went, no. That's my money. I'm going to have to go in and fix this. So they went to the hotel people and said, hey, I know you like that New York City, New York State money. I know you do. I know you do. But guess what? I can get you more money from the federal government. And they said, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. So you're telling me I don't have to do anything. You're going to put migrants in my hotel who have less rights than the poor homeless people already have in it. So they have zero recourse. And you give me more money. And they went, yeah. They went, deal. I love that. And they literally threw homeless people out of their hotels, to include veterans. You remember those stories. You were wondering why. This is why. Because now you get more money from the federal government from a migrant than you do from the American homeless person. They went, well, I'll take the money. And they have less recourse. It's amazing. And now nonprofits get their cut too. Oh my God, the whole system's set. Now the nonprofits were savvy. I give them prop for the game. Not only did they go to hotel owners, they then went to commercial office building owners. Hey, how about I shove some migrants in here too? You'll get it like $300 a day per migrant. I'll take my cut. No one's in your building anyway. And you can't rebuild it because the Department of Buildings won't let you, but they'll let you put migrants in it all day long. So let's do that. And they went, okay, that's a great, I got nothing now. I'll take this. What about getting sued? Oh no, they're migrants. They have no rights. Don't worry about it. They're not going to sue you. They have no rights. And we'll cover you. We're nonprofit. People think that because we're nonprofit, we're somehow good, that we're not grifters. They don't realize that we're just grifters. They think we're actually helpful, but we're not. But they don't believe that. And the commercial landlord said, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And he started filling these areas up. Now what do we have? A migrant industrial complex. So we made a homeless industrial complex. Did we solve the homeless issue? No. Then we made a migrant industrial complex. Did we solve the migrant issue? No. But did we make more people grift? Yeah, we did. We're good at that. Migrant and homeless industrial complexes. New York City. Doing it right. The way it should be. Am I right? Tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio. WYSL, Rochester, New York. Back with your calls and the chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential.
We have Dexter from New York City.
Our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law? That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help.
And we have another call on hold, FYI.
How to volunteer and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
I'll let you know his name when he's in the board.
Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe. Back on Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000 is the number. Been talking about the homeless industrial complex, the migrant industrial complex, not solving any problems, but boy, getting the grift going. That is how we always do it. It's pretty embarrassing, but completely on brand. Let me grab a call if I could. I have Dexter from the Big Apple, New York City. How are you, Dexter?
Hey, how's it going, Larry?
What's going on?
Everything is everything.
It is?
Yeah, it strikes me that my buddy Ben, who has a really rough way with environmentalists and kind of
Mm-hmm.
green grifters of that type. Summed it
Yep.
up perfectly the other day when we were talking. He said that we seem to be the victims of people in government who believe that systems work
Yes.
by policy. In other words,
Mm-hmm.
like we can create a policy and that makes something work, including markets, right? Like if we just make a
Yes.
policy, this market will now function.
Yes.
And yeah, this seems to me very much what's happening in New York. You know, we've talked before. I live here in Bushwick, the Bushwick section of Brooklyn, and you know, I know most of my neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm always talking to them about how the city makes it very difficult to bring you housing online, right?
100%.
To turn something dilapidated into something usable.
Yep.
But then we wonder why there's a housing shortage. Well, if you've made it illegal essentially to build enough housing,
Yep.
then you're going to have a shortage, and then all the policies you pile on top are not going to do any good.
No, I agree. If policy worked, then they should just, without question, just say, you know what we're going to do? Let's just make homelessness illegal. You can't be homeless. Why? We passed the law against it. It's done. And then it'll go away. Oh, you know what? You don't want a house to collapse? You'll just say houses can't collapse. We passed a law. You can pass all the
Larry,
laws you want. It doesn't make it work.
I think you're onto something, Larry. I mean,
Yes.
listen, don't we have gun-free zones?
We
Times
do.
Square is a gun-free zone. That seems to work very well. So you know something? This is great. I think you're onto something. This is good.
There we go. I appreciate it, Dexter. Thanks for the call, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, no, I think he's right. Just outlaw the thing,
Mike,
and it's done.
Rochester.
Absolutely, and it's done. Let me grab another call if I could. I'm going to grab Mike from Rochester. How are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, pretty good. Hey, remember a conversation we had about a week or so ago, and I had just mentioned that all these people what they should do with their extra retail space. I want my cut. I want my cut of the NGO money, because I think they heard me. That was my ideal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, you're a better grifter than you give yourself credit for. That's what it is.
right.
You're a better
Man,
grifter.
that means I could be a Democrat and I could have my own NGO.
See, you have missed your calling, my friend. What you should have been is been a nonprofit that sucks off the teat of maybe Rochester or something. I don't know. Or the state government works too. There's lots of teats to suck on.
Well, you know what? There's still hope for me. You know,
There is.
Monroe County just switched over. We just lost our county legislator. We are now Democrat by one county person. So yeah, now I could be just a drifter up here. Hey, thanks for the idea. I appreciate it, Larry.
There we go, my friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Yeah, no, look, I know we tease, but it's real, right? And here is why I joke about it, because I want you to have a conversation about it. I want you to think about it. Every time that one of these people or these organizations grift, two things are happening that are very serious. I know Mike and I'm just joking here, and Mike's called before. I know we're joking, and there is a joke to it. There is. Sometimes you have to laugh, otherwise you want to cry. But every time this happens, two things are happening that are bad. One, the actual problem isn't being solved. And what makes that worse is that people feel like it is, right? Well, because they're doing something. This nonprofit is doing something, therefore it's being solved, is a feeling or the emotion that comes out. But in reality, it's just a grift, and it's not being solved at all. If anything, it's being made worse. And here comes the second piece. We're throwing money away that could be solving some other problem, that could be helping somebody else, that could be helping you, right? Your taxpayer dollars that are going to someone to grift off of could have bought you something new or nice, or paid your car note, or paid your rent, or paid your bill this month, or paid your cell phone bill, or whatever. whatever you want, whatever you care about. Maybe you could have gotten that instead. Maybe you could have had a nicer dinner out of the restaurant than you had with some extra cash you might have had, instead of having to give it to a grifter who doesn't even solve a problem. So I know I often joke and tease and tell stories. That's kind of my way. But I hope you understand that this actually is serious. And that when they grift, again, the problem is not only not solved, but people think it is being solved, so they don't even try to solve it anymore. Why? See, this nonprofit's got it covered. No, it doesn't. And then some other issue that you could have had, or could have had help with, or could have fixed. That now is gone. You've lost that money. You've lost that time. And I'll add a third piece, which is kind of at a macro level, but still matters. The talent, right? Guys like Mike, right? If guys like Mike seriously say, I'm going to go into the grift, well, I just lost him in the market, right? I just lost him in the market. Dexter was talking about it. Dexter was talking about, in the market, free markets. Well, I need good, smart labor in the market. If I got good, smart labor grifting in some industrial complex, homeless industrial complex, migrant industrial complex, whatever you want to call it, I don't have them in the market providing goods and services to us, the New Yorkers who are supposed to be having a good life. I got Mike grifting instead of Mike providing some value in the market. So I'm even hurting at a macro level. As I joke and tease, and I do, it is something serious. And I would bet that most of you, if you haven't heard me say it before, you didn't know how this industrial complex begins and how it never stops. Because here's the worst problem. Now, as these companies, as these buildings, as these landlords become accustomed to getting free money from the government, again, to Dexter's point, they pull themselves out of the market. So why would they go back in it? And I don't mean to be cruel. I mean to be smart. If I can do nothing with my property, nothing, and get free money, why would I? Why would I? I wouldn't bother. Now, there will be some people who won't grift, but then those who won't grift wind up becoming a monopoly because everybody else is grifting. So then if you go to one who's not, they go, I'll charge you what I want. Why? No one else is in the market. It's just me. I'll do what I want. What are you going to do? No place else for you to go. They're all grifting. They don't need you. And now I don't either. Everybody suffers. It's an important piece, and you see it happening constantly. Why do we all of a sudden have people who give you worse service? Why do we have people who are giving you now worse products? Well, if they're grifting, who cares? What are you going to do? Nothing. Even the market doesn't allow you now to go someplace else, because those who would be the competitor of that person are now grifting off the government. Or I'll go one step even worse. What happens when the market becomes so bad that you can't survive unless you're grifting off the government? In which case the government becomes your biggest customer and you care about them, not me or you. We don't matter. We're not the government. We're a small part of their income. They laugh at us. Absolutely. Jean, yes, Jean, it was good seeing you this week, and I appreciate you coming out. She says, not all nonprofits are bad, just the government-funded ones. Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. I should be clearer. To me, it's so obvious. But you're right, Jean. Thank you for bringing this up. I think some people may not understand. I am not attacking all nonprofits. I'm not. What I'm saying is, because many nonprofits actually are very valuable, people assume all of them are. But the ones who are doing what I just said, those are the bad ones taking advantage of the good ones. Thank you for that, Gene. I appreciate it. Larry Sharpe, WYSL, Rochester, New York, Sharpe Radio, 585-346-3000. Back after the break.
So by the way, I don't know if you heard, Glenn Beck was talking about there was a Another cyber outage affecting Facebook, YouTube, and some other online. Yeah, coincidence?
Welcome, Olean. WYSL. Proud to be your local talk station for great conservative, all-American programming.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, couple of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. Temperature staying near 50 on Wednesday. Big changes coming. Some rain at times, and it will be turning colder. Temps will drop near 50 in the morning, closer to 40 in the afternoon. We'll have clearing skies, low 40s on Thursday. Some nice weather for Friday, partly sunny, back near 50. I'm Rich Canilia, WYSL.
Spring has sprung at the all-new Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram at 6484 Route 96 in Victor, where the selection and savings are better than ever. For example, lease a 2024 Grand Cherokee 4xe in Midnight Sky, just $359 a month for 36 months. A 23 Chrysler Pacifica Minivan in Fathom Blue Pearl Coat is only $399 a month for 39 months. A 24 Jeep Compass Limited SUV is only $189 a month for 27 months. And a Jeep Wrangler Willys 4xe in bright white clear coat is only $259 a month for 36 months. $2,000 cash or trade. Other 3 leases require $2,500. Must have lease loyalty. First payment, DMV, taxes and fees due at signing. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. Shop Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram now at 6484 Route 96, just east of Victor.
Tom Hamilton here, president of Hamilton Wealth Management. Let's talk about investment fees and commissions. Just how much are you paying to have your investments managed? If you're like most people, you really don't know the cost, right? Does this make any sense? Paying for something without knowing how much? Okay, maybe your advisor is a friend and even sends you a birthday card every year. But what real value is he providing and at what cost? Isn't that a fair question to ask of any service provider, including your broker? For a $2 million account with annual fees and commissions totaling 2.5%, you're paying $50,000 per year. That's a lot of money. Are you receiving that level of value? If you have over $250,000, I will personally review your investments, including an analysis of the actual costs. To schedule your no-cost review, call our Pittsford office at 381-9870 or contact us from our website, hamiltonwealthmanagement.com. That's hamiltonwealthmanagement.com.
Advisory services offered through Wealth Plan Partners. Securities offered through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
What's growing on your carpets? Carpet may hold up to 200,000 bacteria per square inch. That's about 4,000 times more than your toilet. Professional carpet cleaning with hot water extraction is one of the most effective ways to rid your home of bacteria, dirt, and germs. Call Lima Carpet and schedule your carpet cleaning today. 226-2180. That's 226-2180. Lima Carpet staff will do it right, guaranteed.
At AirQuip, it's all about your comfort. Comfort with our company, comfort with our team, and most importantly, comfort in your home. As a trained comfort specialist, we adhere to the highest standards of customer service, training, and industry expertise. With a trained system from AirQuip, you'll get the best products, honest prices, and service that's unparalleled. We are your home comfort specialists. Find out more at airquipheating.com.
AirQuip Heating and Air.
Now is the time to make sure your child is receiving education, not indoctrination. Archangel School is academically challenging, free of Common Core and critical race theory curricula, a brighter school experience that honors your traditional American values. If you're looking for an affordable Catholic faith-based school for your child from preschool through grade 12, come to Archangel School's open house Thursday, March 7th from 6 to 7:30. Enroll now at archangelschool.com or call 585-247-1112.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery has a great deal on Tuesdays. A large 4-topping pizza for $18, regular or gluten-free. Call 226-9575. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery in Avon.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York, 585-346-3000. Talking about migrant industrial complex, homeless industrial complex, all those things. Yes. And Gene, thank you so much for bringing that up. Not all nonprofits are bad at all. In fact, I would argue most are far better than government programs. I should have been clearer. So I do want to be clear. I am speaking specifically about those that grift off the government. And the reason why they get away with it is literally because so many nonprofits are wonderful. People assume that the grifting ones are as good as the good ones. So again, Gene, thank you for that clarity. I should have been clearer. It was obvious in my eyes, clearly not obvious in others. So Mike Voss is listening today. Mike says, if government could fix this, it would have been fixed decades ago. New York State has spent more than some countries' GDP on homelessness. Complete waste of time and resources. You know, yes, Mike, you're correct. It should be obvious, right? It isn't, but it should be obvious. If government could fix this on its own, it would have. Can government help sometimes? Sure. But why would it? When it can create a complex that will keep paying itself. And that's what we have now. Why in the world, if you're a hotel owner, if you're a building owner that's making money from this, why would you ask it to be solved? In fact, some of these building owners, it's a true story, own these buildings, are getting government money, and they've moved away. So they live in Florida or Texas or South Carolina. Meanwhile, the government is writing them checks for their buildings that are falling apart in New York City. And they're taking their money and paying their mortgages or having a great time in Florida and in Texas. Why would they fix it? You might go, lie, because it's the right thing to do. Well, that's true, but they're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. So, yes, absolutely. Patty says, Larry, if our landlord, which you know we had a hard time to find, yes, it can get more money to house people here, they will be dumb not to take it. It's a scary thought. Well, yes, however, there's a difference here, right? There is a difference in throwing someone out versus having someone come in. So if my apartment is empty, why would I bring in a family that might actually have rights and get mad at me and want things like heat and hot water and stuff, when I can just have migrants who have no rights, who can't even speak the language? I'll take more money, guaranteed, because government money is always guaranteed. They just print more of it, particularly if it's Uncle Joe's money. I mean, they love Uncle Joe's money. They just keep printing that. It just keeps coming. So I think that's the issue. It's harder to throw them out. Not that they wouldn't, but it's a whole lot harder. It's much easier when it's already empty. So that's the issue. Austin asked the question. He says, hey, Larry, I have a coworker that believes landlords should be limited on how much property they can own. What's your take on it? And will that work in New York? I don't think so, but we are curious. I don't think you could ever have a cap on how much property somebody could own. Now, do you think someone would propose it? Of course, right? They have people who are saying no one should be a billionaire. Once you make X dollars, the government should confiscate it. So I think you hear that talk all the time. But if we ever go to that level, oh my God. Now, could you say something like no entity could own a certain type of property? Maybe. And I wouldn't necessarily be against that. For example, could you say that, hey, I don't want hedge funds to own private homes? I mean, at least maybe, because of the way things are now. Maybe. I'm open to that conversation, because now that's taking away property from citizens who have rights. And in my view, obviously the Supreme Court disagrees with me, corporations are not people. But the Supreme Court says I'm wrong, even though they're wrong. So if you wanted to limit a corporation from owning some type of property, I'm open to that conversation. I don't know what the ramifications are, so I'm not saying I'm for that. I'm saying I'm open to that conversation. But for an individual to have property, why would you want to stop that and limit that? Once you do that, the government can limit everything you own. That is a terrible place to go. I think it should not happen. I hope it will never happen. Again, entities, I'm open to the conversation, but not on individuals. You are an individual. You have rights. Property rights matter. I think limiting that is a terrible idea. Do people want it? Yes. Will it happen? I doubt it, because most of the people who are in charge are multimillionaires, if not billionaires, and they're not going to ever let that happen. I hope I answered your question. So yes, but I do understand it, and people do ask for it. Fred says, call them what they are, illegal aliens. There is a reason why I use the word migrant. It is a neutral word. They are absolutely migrants. Whether you call them illegal aliens or what New York City has done masterfully, they are asylum seekers. So I don't want to turn people off from hearing my argument by just taking one side or the other. If I use the phrase asylum seekers, I will have people on the right get mad at me. If I use the term illegal alien, I'll have people on the left get mad at me. And I want everybody to hear my argument. So I use a generic term, which is migrants. That's why I say migrants. They are migrants. You use whatever term you want, undocumented, whatever. You say what you want. I am saying a neutral term, which is migrants, because they are that, regardless of how you otherwise decide to address them. Just so you understand why I say that and why I don't use that term. I want people to hear my argument. And if I use terms like that, a big chunk will not. So yes. Jerry says, what's the fix these issues? History shows the party that removed handouts suffers politically. Ooh, Jerry, very good. By the way, he goes as Tub. I've met Tub more than once out of Florida. So yes, he's correct. History shows the party that removed handouts suffers politically. See, you have brought up a very important part here, Tub. And that is, once you start the complex, how do you stop it? Right? Because the person who stops it doing the right thing will suffer. Right? The guy or gal who says, enough, they might stop it, but they're going to suffer. Because the people who are getting their cut are going to be mad. Well, no. I'm getting my cut. You see it with the military industrial complex too. All the jobs that makes. You're going to stop that? All those jobs go away? You're in trouble. You are in trouble. It's a very valid point. Thank you for that. That is a very valid point. John says, if you don't grift in New York, you're the enemy in the mind of our benevolent queen. It's true. She is the grift master. I mean, she hands out more jobs than anybody. I do think, it's just funny. When it comes to grifting, I think she's actually better than Cuomo. I do. I think she has a better grift game than Cuomo did. And Cuomo was very good at grifting. But I got to tell you, I think Cuomo was actually more selfish in his grifting. He wanted more for himself and his cronies. She is trying to build allies still. She isn't as strong as Cuomo was with Iron Fist. So she actually grifts more. She gives out more to her random people, right? She does actually more of that. So I think she's actually better at grifting than Cuomo was. I'm not sure. Am I insulting her or am I complimenting her? I'm not sure. I guess it depends on where you look at it. But I will always give credit where credit is due. And she is a better grifter than Cuomo was. So there we go. Michael says, do something is the worst thing to ask a politician or government. Do something effective. Do something efficient. That's what the public needs to say, and hold elected officials accountable if they don't. This goes right back to what Tubbs said. They say that. And then when the government does something like that, and there's no grift involved, they pay the price. So I guess we have to have more people who are in government who are prepared to take the loss, right? Maybe is that the issue? More prepared to take the loss because you're going to get hurt. Like, I am prepared to take that loss. I hope people call me the bad guy. Yes, 100%. So, yes. Zach says, to place a cap on property is to expand government furthermore to enforce that cap. You know what, Zach? I didn't even think of that. You're right. If we make a cap, to Austin's question earlier, if we make a cap on this and we go, hey, wait a minute, you only get to have X dollars or one house or whatever is the cap you make, whether it's a dollar value or number of things, whatever. Well, now you got to have a cap police. Someone's got to come by and, make sure you only have whatever, $1 million worth of stuff or one house or two or whatever is the cap they make. And then, of course, there's also something else, Zach. I have a special reason that I should have extra $10,000 of stuff or a second house, or I get to have 2 cars because of the special reason that I am. And now there becomes a lobby for the special people, right? So people named Larry got to have 2 houses and people named Zach got to have 3 cars. So now we have to have the special carve-outs for people named Larry and people named Zach. And the cops are going to go by and say, wait a minute, now were you born Zach? Or did you change your name to Zach so you could scam the idea? You're totally correct. Zach, nicely done. So I was already against it. Now I'm doubly against it, I guess. So whichever, maybe I'm triply against it. So Joel says, let the free markets work. Yeah, but then I can't grift, Joel. So I like what you're saying, but I mean, we're grifted. So, right? John says, first of all, I'm joking, but I'm surprised the federal government hasn't tried to pull the migrants in the college degree classes. Huh. No. You shouldn't joke, John. That would be a way of getting more government debt and paying back colleges and putting them part of the industrial complex. You've given them ideas, John. What were you thinking? Terrible. Why did I show this? I take it back. All right, engineer, cut this from the podcast. We're coming to figure this out. Larry Sharpe here on WYSL Rochester, New York. Sharpeway Radio, 585-346-3000. Back with your calls and more of your chat. I see you after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable.
Do you really want me to cut that out?
Advancements in artificial
Okay, all right.
intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
While many local collision and repair shops have been gobbled up by national chains with their impersonal touch, Flower City Collision remains locally owned and operated. The shop was started by a local veteran who taught his son Zach the basics in customer service and providing customers value. Flower City doesn't work with a specific insurance company. They want to be your advocate. If you need a repair, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta. He will work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure you get the repair you need done right.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York State laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday, Avon Gun. East Main Street.
We have a
next to
caller,
Tompkins
Keith
Community
from
Bank.
Rochester.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery has a great deal on Tuesdays. A large 4-topping pizza for $18, regular or gluten free. Call 226-9575. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten Free Bakery in Avon.
Sharpe Radio on the WYSL stations.
It is Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio, WYSL, Rochester, New York. So happy you're giving me a small chunk of your day. We have been talking about industrial complexes, migrant industrial complex, homeless industrial complex, nonprofits grifting, and of course, showing our love to the nonprofits do a great thing. Just saying there are those who are grifting. Let me grab a call if I could. It is Keith from Rochester. How are you, sir?
I'm hanging in there. In response to several of your chatters, including the last one, John, I'm reading from the Epic Times. And for everyone, Epic is spelled E-P-O-C-H, the Epic Times. And further, everyone should know this newspaper was founded by Americans of Chinese heritage who are very concerned, as many of us are, that the United States is going the way of communist China. These are Chinese Americans who have the perspective that's the case. The article says U.S. taxpayers help fund the illegal immigration crisis, and the subtitle is the U.S. government gives billions of dollars to the UN, which uses it to help migrants get to the U.S. illegally. My comment, that's where the resentment comes. It doesn't matter what we call these people.
Right.
You talk about grifting, billions of American taxpayer dollars going to a very bad organization like the UN. If I were president, I'd boot it out of Manhattan, take down the UN building completely. So my question is, if you apparently, Mr. Sharpe, are concerned about the resentment against them, American taxpayers are helping, here goes, these illegals come in, and Americans, those of us who pay the taxes, we don't have any say in how our taxpayer dollars are being used by our own government. That right there is a huge grift.
Wow. I wish I could disagree with you, but I don't. I think you're right on virtually everything you just said. I think that the UN is going out of its way to assist people to come here. However, there's a however here. We are helping, and we are helping in more than one way. The individual, this is to your point, Keith, the individual does not want a flood of migrants to come into their neighborhood. How do I know that? The Bronx here in New York, notoriously open to all types of migrants, illegal, undocumented, legal, school, doesn't matter. Any way you title it, the Bronx has notoriously, happily sucked them all up. Come on in. Happily. Those days are over. The people in the Bronx now are like, no more. No. So even the Bronx, which notoriously has been open to whoever wants to come in, even they're like, no, we're done. We don't want them anymore. Even they're saying it. They don't care if they're legal or not. They don't want them. So I think your point's a valid one. The average American does not want a flood of migrants into their area no matter what. If the Bronx is saying no, I know everybody's saying no. That's piece one. The second piece, though, is the government wants it. And the government wants it because of the industrial complex we've just talked about. This is where they pay each other, they pay each other, they pay each other. The UN's helping too. It gets money, they get money, we keep going. Everybody is at the top is making money off of the average American who is one, paying for it, and two, losing because of it. That's why I always want to make two things. You are correct, Keith, in that we're paying for it, but I have to go one step further. We're not just paying for it. It's weird. Usually I'm trying to back off of you, Keith, and now I'm pushing forward past you. Not only are we paying for it, but on top of it, we're not getting our problem solved. So we're paying for more problems and not fixing the problems that we have. I think you're completely correct. But again, we as a government, I shouldn't say we. Let me change that. Not we. Our government is helping the UN to make things worse. Yes.
Well, in closing, as I hang up here, how are you going to incorporate that into your libertarian platform? That's the concern I have with libertarians. Your platform as such is always kind of up in the air. If you were to really find a way, truly calculate and really use your slide rule on this, you would be doing the country a great help, because Americans are fed up. They have no say in how their taxes are spent. The grift is there. And if you libertarians are going to lead the charge, and for me, my fellow conservatives are not, this is where libertarians would come in and fill the breach. That's what you, Mr. Sharpe, should be doing.
I think you are correct, and I've said it many times. One of the number one things we can do is to make sure more money stays locally. As silly as that sounds, the reason why, and I'll give you the best example I can give you, and that is, for those of you in New York know this, the Buffalo Bills Stadium. The Buffalo Bills Stadium is a stadium being built at taxpayer expense for a huge chunk of it. The vast majority is taxpayer expense, either from the federal government or from the New York State government, but the vast majority is taxpayer dollars, to give a building to players who are all millionaires and owners who are all billionaires. Why? Doesn't make any sense. In reality, if you're a bank, would you finance these people? Of course you would. Banks love financing billionaires. They're billionaires. They always pay their taxes. They always pay their debts back because they're billionaires. And they don't, they give you more work. They love doing that. So are you telling me these guys couldn't finance their own stadium? Of course they could. But Governor Hochul stepped in to ensure that she actually could finance it.
2 minutes.
Why? Because now she can give out jobs. The more money that the government takes in, the more money it can give out. As we starve the beast, it has less power.
Keith is gone.
As more people are locally having money, there's less grifting. Not just that. If I get to go to Albany and get $62 million for one or two guys I send up there to bribe or to push on a couple of guys, life is good. But if I got to go to all 62 counties, now I got to send 100 people. That's a whole lot harder. That is a whole lot harder. Now, will localizing end grifting? No, it won't. There will still be some grifting, but there'll be a whole lot less grifting, and it'll be hard to do. We start doing that, things will be better. Not just that. We have to support nonprofits getting money directly from the people, not from the government. More money coming directly from the people will make sure better nonprofits and less grifting. And I've had tons of policies all about that. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.
Okay, have a great rest of your